Fargo fights for its life tonight. The rising Red River reaches a record high. From the air and on the ground, we bring you the battle against floodwaters here at home. And easing the strain on crowded classrooms, the province unveils a multi-million-dollar plan.
From the Global Winnipeg Studios, Crime News with Eva Kovacs.
You're looking at the last-ditch effort to shore up a massive dike in Fargo tonight. The mud wall is holding back a swollen Red River that threatens to flood the city. It's a dire situation for our neighbors south of the border tonight. The Red River has already reached its highest level in more than 100 years, and the crest is literally hours away. Global's Nicole Dubé is in Fargo and joins us now live. And by this time tomorrow, we should know if the dikes have staved off disaster. What's it like there tonight, Nicole?
Eva, after what's been days of frantic dike building here in Fargo, the effort has now turned to maintaining the barriers. Tonight, as you can see behind me, crews are working to reinforce any last-minute things that must be reinforced. But aside from that, there's almost an eerie calm that has fallen over Fargo as residents hunker down for the night, awaiting the moment of truth tomorrow. Homes separated from disaster by a foot. And that could be all the difference between success and failure here. Overnight, more than 150 homes in Moorhead had to be evacuated where weak dikes may not be able to hold back floodwaters.
It's been kind of surreal. It really has. I just don't know. I mean, it just all of a sudden here.
You know, guy hardly knows what to do. He really puts things in perspective here of what's important and what's not.
With only a few hours' notice, families frantically moved furniture to higher ground, loaded vehicles with necessities, and even reinforced homes with last-minute sandbagging before leaving it all behind.
My dad's best friend is having trouble with his house because they're blocking it off down here, so we're trying to save it real quick tonight.
The evacuation measures have shelters taking in anyone with nowhere to go.
It's basic, austere living, but it's warm, it's dry, it's safe.
The river is now at a record 40.6 feet. 2 feet higher, and city officials say levees may not hold. The good news, the river is not rising as quickly. It's expected to crest tomorrow at 41 to 42 feet, possibly 43.
Is that going to be it? We don't know. We don't have any real crystal ball to look into.
So the priority now is to maintain the dikes and ensure they'll be strong enough to hold the water for up to 6 days once it peaks. And where levees are leaking, pumping is underway while contingency dikes are built. For the Simonsons, it means their home now sits between a wall of mud and the rising Red.
I seem to wake up at 3 o'clock every morning and look out and see what the trucks are doing. And today they're building a dike on the other side of our house.
And in just a matter of hours now, the river is set to test all safety efforts. That's when residents will find out if it's all been in vain.
We chose to live on the river, and this is part of the risk that we take.
And this community knows that if they're going to win this flood fight, it's going to be by working together. Eva?
Well, Nicole, overall today, it's a very different picture. It looks kind of quiet out there tonight. Is it really just a waiting game now?
Eva, it really is. It's a wait and see right now. For the most part, all sandbagging is done. As I mentioned, there's a few crews out still patching up any dikes that might need to be reinforced. There's also 2,000 military personnel who've divided up into 58 teams, and they're the ones patrolling the 45 kilometers of barriers that are holding back the Red River tonight. Eva?
All right, thanks, Nicole. A difficult time for everyone out there. I know it's going to be a long night for you and the Global crew out there, so I won't keep you. Thanks for that, Nicole.
Thanks, Eva.
Well, a flood fight is still underway north of Winnipeg. The big ice jam that suddenly flooded homes in St. Andrews is now clogging the Red River just south of Selkirk. Global's Nellie Gonzalez took to the skies to track the ice jam's progress and saw the desperate effort on the ground to build more flood defenses.
The ice jam continues to threaten homes along the Red River as it moves further north. The massive iceberg has already flooded homes on River Road in St. Andrews, where the road is now washed out. Provincial officials say the ice jam is now just 1.5 kilometers away from Selkirk, an area that's prone to jams.
That's an area that as the ice moves, it's narrower and shallower there. It does jam up there.
Hundreds of residents north of Lockport have been put on alert.
It's pretty nice outside to break from the bad weather.
About 100 Winnipeg high school students took the day off school to help residents protect their homes from the huge ice jam.
It's scary because I haven't seen that before. Like, I've lived here for 40 years.
From above, it's an impressive sight as the students pass sandbags and pile them on the dike. But Trent Goodbranson fears the valiant efforts may not succeed.
You build up to a certain level, but I mean, Mother Nature throws stuff at you and you just, I don't know, it's just unknown, but trying to prepare for the worst, that's all.
Emergency officials say another jam could cause river levels to rise dramatically and potentially cause a lot of havoc for homeowners who have already lived through the flood of '97.
We're recommending that anyone between Lockport and the lake itself that have homes, whether you're in St. Clements, Selkirk, or St. Andrews, that have flooded in the last 10 or 15 years, be ready for it.
Crews are working around the clock trying to move ahead of the jam and break up the ice, but more resources are needed to protect properties.
Big thing we need is the big commercial steamers for steaming culverts. We need trucks to haul sandbags. We need loaders.
Nellie Gonzalez, Global News.
Emergency officials in St. Andrews are still looking for trucks and other heavy equipment that can help with their flood fight. If you have machinery to contribute or hire out, please call this number, 481-0739. Now, ice jams could also cause problems inside Winnipeg. Provincial officials released their latest flood forecast today. Despite the recent snowfall, the Red River isn't expected to rise any higher than already expected, as long as ice jams don't block the flow. But even under best-case scenario, some homes and businesses could still face flooding. Global's Jeff Keel reports.
Volunteers at the LaSalle Hotel in Winnipeg are working frantically to save the near 100-year-old building from floodwaters.
It looks pretty high to me too, like it's crazy.
22,000 sandbags are piled behind the hotel, protecting it from the Red River, but twice that amount will be needed to secure the building.
Overnight, Monday to Tuesday morning, the river went up about 6 feet, so the panic kind of set in. That yellow or orange line is where the surveyors have said we need to bring the dike up to.
The good news for the manager and the volunteers here is the Red River in Winnipeg has dropped from 18.7 feet to 17 feet overnight. But flood forecasters say a snowmelt expected early next week will push that level up to 20.5 feet.
The only thing that could upset the apple cart here is if we get an ice jam in the city. That would be bad news.
And ice jams on the river caused by the cold weather could prevent operation of the floodway on April 1st.
Should we get an ice flowing into the floodway, we could get an ice jam at the St. Mary's Road Bridge. This would reduce the floodway capacity, and that would affect water levels in the city of Winnipeg.
Meanwhile, officials are confident the floodway expansion and the Red River's capacity will prevent a Fargo-type situation from occurring here. And while the province says all options are on the table, the military has not been called to help.
The Armed Forces only gets involved at the request of the provincial government. At this time, we don't anticipate involving them.
But the military effort is continuing at the LaSalle Hotel.
We started Tuesday afternoon, and providing we do get as much help as we need and the sandbags keep coming, we are hoping to be done by Sunday.
And while it looks like there are enough sandbags here on this pile to save the hotel, none of them can be used because the sand inside them is frozen, meaning even more sandbags will be needed to save the LaSalle Hotel. Jeff Keel, Global News.
Even if the city escapes ice jams and major river flooding, officials say a third threat still looms. Once all the snow melts, the runoff could swamp Winnipeg neighborhoods as it did earlier this month. And today the city says it plans to resume steaming open frozen drains and culverts as soon as possible.